Hello there, friends and neighbors. This is Solo here, and right now you are seeing my Narukami deck build. First, let's start off with this starter right here, named Spark Kid Dragoon. He's a 4K, but I like his ability, which is a Counterblast 1, search up to the top 5 cards for a grade 3. Now, in case you're screwed on your first or second try, trying to find your grade 3, your 2, and your 1s, and you don't have your grade 3, this guy's your best bet right here, because he'll give you a good chance to give you a grade 3. So, that's my starter. He's a very promising guy. On to the grade 0s. Now, I have 4 heal triggers right here. Everybody has 4 heal triggers. That's a given. No need to explain why I have them in my deck. Next up, 4 draw triggers. Now, how come draw triggers? Well, just in case you're short on hand and you just happen to draw some triggers, no harm there. No harm having draw triggers. No harm, but all the benefit. And then, last but not least, I have 4 of these guys. 4 Jins, 4 crits, and another 4. So 8 crits total. Now, I like having 8 crits just because the Narukami deck that I have right now is a pretty much straightforward beatdown deck. So having 4 crits is a menacing thought. So
That's why you run 8.
That's why I run 8. Now, on to the grade 1s. 4 perfect shields, 4 golds. Now that's a given. It's a staple for almost every deck out there. Actually, I think all decks, pretty much. If you don't want to get screwed, 4 perfect shields. Next up for grade 1s, 4 Red River Dragoons. These are your standard 8Ks. And pretty much, they have no special ability whatsoever. But I like them. I like them in my deck just because they are a strong hitter. For grade 1. So next up for grade 1s, I have 4 Photon Bomber Wyverns. Now, by themselves, they are a 6K. But when placed behind a Vanguard, and if your opponent has 3 damage or more, this is a 10K booster. Remember, when this guy is placed behind your Vanguard, only then will that happen. I have 4 because, they're the shit. They're the cat's pajamas. They're the whatever you want to call it. So now, that's that. And last but not least for grade 1, just 1 single Rai. And why? Because, she's adorable. Why not, Okay, next up, for grade 2 lineup, I have 4 of these Thunderstorm Dragoons. They're a vanilla 10K, and, that's it. That's all you're ever going to need, really, is a plain and simple 10K, straight across, beat down that Vanguard, no sweat, no pain. Next up for grade 2s are 2 Hex Cannon Wyverns. Now, by themselves, they are just an 8K. But, for their effect, if your opponent has 3 damage or more, in total, this would be an 11K attacker. So it's good for those Vanguards who are hard-to-hit Vanguards, who are an 11K. So these guys, they're a big deal. Now, next up, another twin set. 2 Dragonic Death Sides. Now, they're 9K, so they're not too bad. What I like them the most, though, is their effect. It's a Counterblast 2, so it's kind of like Thunderbreak, actually. Thunderbreak Dragon, if you're familiar with him. Counterblast 2, and you get to retire a grade 2 rear guard or less. So, I like them better. I like them a lot, just because, if you have that annoying Vanguard booster, then you can just get rid of him. Counterblast 2, no sweat. And then 4 of these guys. 4 of Garudas. 9K again, just like the Dragonic Death Side. But their effect, if you attack a Vanguard with this guy, you can unflip a damage. And that's pretty nice if you're wanting to pull off an effect like this guy. Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. Now, for my deck, I have 4 of those because they're pretty badass. Their effect, Limit Break 4, Counterblast 3, it gets a +2, okay. and it battles the entire front row. Now what that means is that Dragonic, let's say this is my Vanguard, and let's say these are my opponent's front row right here, if you can see that. Now, if I pull off his effect, Limit Break 4, Counterblast 3, this is a 13k, and it will attack this row, or rather this column, and this column. So let's say if this was a grade 2, he can't intercept because he's already occupied by this guy. Boom, boom, boom. So he has a pretty nice effect. Now he also has a con where it says if a non-Narukami Vanguard, if you do have a non-Narukami Vanguard, then it's a -2, but you won't have to worry about that. No sweat. So this guy's a badass. I definitely recommend him. Next up, I have 1, 2, 3 copies of Breakthrough Dragons. Now, they're just a grade 3 10k, so what's so special about them? I'll tell you why. Their effect, if it's boosted, it gets an extra 2k. Now, if it was coupled with a Red River Dragoon, which is an 8k, that's 12 plus 8. What is that? Tell me the math. It is 20k. Now, that's a lot of shields so you'll have to use if you want to block that sucker. Last card I'm going to be talking about is 1 copy of Thunderbreak Dragon. Now, his effect is similar to Death Scythe, where you counterblast 2 and you retire a grade 2 rear guard or less. So he's just like him, except he's a grade 3 and he's a badass. Now, if you have 4 damage or more, this guy is a 15k hitter. So if coupled up with a, let's say, a Photon Bomber, 10k, 15, that adds up to a 25. So it is, I'd say, a very powerful hitter, and it would be a damn shame if you want to block that, because that would be a 20k that you had to use, a 20k shield that you had to use, if you want to guard against this badass. But of course, I did mention Rai Rai earlier, and she's, I'd say, just as good if you don't have any Wyverns. You can Soul Blast just 1, and it's a 11k booster. So, I mean, she's just as good, but, I mean, she's not as good as this badass right here. So, that's my deck profile. My name's Solo, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.